Oh dear. Oh, look at the sketch. Larry, I wonder if you could show us your sketch, please.
Well, even if I couldn't have imagined it turn out like this.
Imagine what?
That Laurie's Dunham's debut would take place here today like this.
Show it now.
Okay, but steel yourselves. This is the world of Laurie's Dunham.
What the fuck? Gar nicht mal so schlecht. Aber warum fliegt da ein brennender Geist durch die Luft?
Oh, well. So, this is Dusky Bridge, correct? Quite a large bridge, isn't it? You're responsible for karma.
Yes, well, it's a better drawing than I expected.
Isn't it? I struggled to reproduce those flames, I really did. Yes, I'm sure you did.
Ich habe tatsächlich jetzt irgendwie so ein Strichmännchen-Gemälde mit Wachsmalstiften erwartet. Von daher bin ich sogar tatsächlich positiv überrascht. This is going to get ugly. No one has the courage to bring it up, it seems. This mysterious flying object. Larry.
What?
The burning bridge is fine, but what is that unfortunate-looking figure?
You spotted that. I thought you might.
However much I might want to ignore it, I can't.
It's Iris, of course. Iris. I wish she'd take better care of herself. We have to plan for our future, you know. What would have happened to her if she had injured herself flying like that?
But did you just listen to yourself? Larry, please, answer this next question honestly.
Okay.
Are you really claiming to have seen this? Are you claiming to have seen the silhouette of the defendant flying over a bridge that was engulfed in flames?
Yep, that's what I saw. That's why I drew it. I'm an artist, a real artist.
Are you high? Are you high?
Hi, the girl, she's really high up in this picture. Oh, bruh, what was that for?
This is all a bad dream. I was hitting you on the cheek to test that theory. Mach das doch lieber mit dir selber.
Please whip your own cheek from now on if you wish to test your own theories. Anyway, no court of law will ever acknowledge that people can fly.
Actually, there is some precedent for this.
She was flying pretty high, my sweet Iris. She was about 30 feet above the bridge at least. It was really something to see. This has to be some kind of mistake. Mr. Edgeworth, please bring the witness back down to earth.
What, me?
This witness is your friend, is he not?
Accessory to foolishness, Miles Edgeworth.
Let us get back to the cross-examination by force if necessary. Mr. Edgeworth, I expect you to expose the obvious contradiction here.
Yes, Your Honor. Looks like I've got another reason to remember this moron.
Well, what do you think of my debut piece? Get the thing away from me. Now hurry up and cross-examine you.
Oh dear. She heard the bridge that was whipped up into a frenzy of art. Her white hood fluttering. Ja, das kann ja schon mal nicht sein. I saw Iris flying, her white hood fluttering. No. Can't be. Larry, what did you really see that night? Not that I particularly care.
In your position, that's just being irresponsible. I drew exactly what I saw. I'll give you a whole $1 that is the truth.
If that is truly the case, then there's one thing that we can say for certain.
What might that be?
That the person who flew over the bridge could not have been the defendant Iris.
What? What do you mean? I don't understand. Rah!
A foolhardy folly of a foolish statement by an equally foolishly foolhardy fool. How exactly can you make this claim? Tell us, Larry. According to this picture, the individual whom you say you saw was wearing a hood. Correct?
Of course she was. That rundown shack is quite away from the bridge. The hood is what told me that this floating angel was my Iris. The hood is my darling Iris, and Iris is my darling hood. Wah.
It seems there are bigger fools in this world than the one at the defense's bench. Larry, there's something you need to be made aware of. On the night of the murder, Iris wasn't wearing her hood. She had given it to Wright as a gift. Are you going to change your story now? Perhaps suggest it was Wright who took flight? I mean, in a way he did.
What are you talking about?
I think you understand what I mean just fine.
Why? Why did Nick have Iris's hood?
What?
Edgy, what's going on with Iris and Nick? Why you, Nick, you dog?
I do believe that this unbelievably mysterious sketch is destined to disappear, discredited and discarded, straight into the garbage.
Huh.
What is it now, witness?
It feels like I've been waiting 25 years for this very day to come. Edgy, today is the day to completely stupefy you.
What?
What is the meaning of your outburst, witness? I hate to have to do this, but I have some definitive evidence.
Definitive evidence?
Iris did indeed come flying over the burning bridge, and I, Lars Dunim, shall prove it.
Okay. I didn't expect to ask this again, but we shall be needing your testimony once again. Tell us anything you know concerning the defendant as depicted in this sketch, and show us your evidence that this nightmare was actually a reality.
Okay, I hope you're ready, Edgy, because I'm going to feed you a whopping serving of pain.
You've been serving us a whopping serving of pain this whole time, trust me. Proof that Iris flew. Was kommt jetzt?
When I reached Dusky Bridge, she was already gone. I was so worried, so I frantically searched all over for her. That led to me finding a beautiful crystal sphere half buried in the snow.
Huh.
I'm sure that Iris was simply wearing a spare hood. After all, no one else could have lost a crystal sphere that night.
Oh.
A crystal sphere? This one, pretty, isn't it? But finders keepers.
That sphere, where did you find it?
Let me see, around here, somewhere. Looks about right.
And it was half buried in the snow.
Yeah, it pretty much stopped snowing by then. But there was still some falling as I walked to the bridge. The court accepts this crystal sphere. It's mine, okay? Whoops, sorry. I want it back afterwards.
There's something on it. Oh my, it's blood. What? Blood?
You ready, Edgy? By tomorrow morning, you'll be calling me Master Larry.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever gonna happen.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. No one's going to push me around anymore.
Didn't you want to be called Lewis Dunim only a few minutes ago? And the only pushing we'll be doing is you off a cliff. Ich bin mir ziemlich sicher, ich weiß sogar schon, was ich hier präsentieren muss und wo, aber ich press trotzdem mal aus Neugierde. When I reached Dusky Bridge, she was already gone. I was so worried. Damn it. So, you went to the burning bridge.
That's right, to meet Iris. She actually flew to get to me. The least I could do was meet her halfway.
What? The defendant was not at the bridge when you got there, you say?
I guess she went back to Hazakura Temple. She's a girl after all. She must have wanted to look her best.
It must be lovely to live in the fantasy land of Larry's mind. Actually, it's so depressing that I can't even work up the energy to point.
So what do you do next? We're so worried, so I frantically searched all over for her.
So you searched all over for her?
She was flying pretty high, you know. I thought maybe she slipped on her landing and got hurt. Hey, it was more than possible. Also, when I headed out to the shack the first time, I was snacking on a banana. I was pretty sure I threw the peel away somewhere around there, so you know.
Ist natürlich auch eine geile Idee, irgendwo in der Nähe von der Brücke eine Bananenschale auf den Boden zu werfen. Kommt man? Can one guy really be this stupid? Was wäre, wenn ich eine Bananenschale direkt von der Brücke auf den Boden fallen lasse, jemand anders darauf ausrutscht und in seinen Tod stürzt? Wäre das nicht irgendwie schon fahrlässige Tötung oder so? Das ist schon ein bisschen saudumm. So, did you find any signs of her so-called landing?
I don't really remember. Kept on falling over myself and kinda lost it for a while there. You fell over yourself. Yeah, the snow was deep and there was even a banana peel out there.
Yep, that's stupid. And then there's Larry Butts.
The short of it is that you didn't find any signs of a landing, correct? Then what happened next?
Okay, that led me to finding a beautiful crystal sphere half buried in the snow. Half buried?
It was sitting in the snow with a little gathered on top of it. It was very hard to spot, actually. I mean, it was dark out too. I'm impressed. You did well to find it. No matter what you may think when you look at me, I'm a pro, man, a genius security guard. I used a pen line I borrowed from my company to help in my search.
Borrowed?
And it sparkled really brightly as if it was saying, "Here I am" to me.
It does indeed look very much like the crystal sphere on Iris's hood. Ja, ist es aber nicht. But need I remind you that she was not wearing her hood that night? Sure that Iris was simply wearing a spare hood. Each nun is assigned their own hood, and they are assigned only one.
I don't know anything about that, okay? And Iris is special, alright, dude? Even if she did steal a spare hood, I'll forgive her.
This is getting us nowhere. Our destination for the day, it seems.
However, this crystal sphere was found near the bridge. That is a fact. If it didn't come from her hood, where could it have come from?
That is the question I aim to answer. After all, no one else could have lost the crystal sphere that night, except they did, if you look at this.
I knew it.
Die ganze Zeit darauf gewartet, dass das irgendwann kommt, seitdem mir das aufgefallen ist, dass die Kugel hier fehlt. Larry, that night, there was someone who lost the crystal sphere.
There was? Who was the stupid idiot?
Miss Elise Dunham, the mentor to a stupid idiot. The victim? I have a photo of her here. And on the end of her staff, you can see a familiar-looking crystal sphere.
Hey, that's my photograph. Give it back.
Ah! A crystal sphere like that is quite easy to find. Oh, echt? I have one just like it on my brooch. Echt? They look nothing alike. In any case, please take a look at this. This is the victim's staff, found at the scene of the crime.
Oh, the crystal sphere.
It's gone.
What?
What?
Just what does this mean?
If anyone jumped or flew across the bridge that night, it certainly was not Iris. After all, she was not wearing her hood, and more importantly, the crystal sphere found at the landing site was not hers either. So that means...
the one who flew
and dropped the sphere was the victim, Miss Elise Dunham. A fool alongside another fool on a fool's errand to reach a foolish conclusion. First of all, the sketch, which I prefer to call a scribble, is ridiculous. People cannot fly, thus it is rejected.
You can't do that. I saw it with my own two eyes.
And this crystal sphere, this is nothing more than a red herring. You honestly believe that? Give it some thought, and I'm sure you'll realize it as well, Miss Edgeworth. Elise Dunham was in her room on the night of the murder. There was no reason for her to go to Dusky Bridge. Therefore, the sphere cannot be related to this case. Oh, das habe ich aus Versehen in den letzten Teil nicht gelesen. Miss Franziska von Karma. The only people who will accept that explanation are scatterbrains and clowns.
Why are you pointing at me?
The victim's crystal sphere was found near the bridge on the night of her murder. Yet you expect us to believe this has nothing to do with the case. That crystal sphere. It was probably thrown away at the bridge after the murder.
After the murder?
There's blood on the crystal sphere, isn't there? This naturally suggests that it was thrown away after the murder took place. The killer placed it there to throw the investigation off the scent, which is the exact same reason that he drew that ridiculous sketch.
What? You mean I'm the killer?
No, all joking aside, just when did this crystal sphere appear near the foot of the bridge? Unless this can be proven in some way, I refuse to believe this is related to the case.
She makes a valid point. There's no evidence that at least Junim left Hazakura Temple that night. However, if somehow this crystal sphere can be proven to have been dropped before the victim was killed, then this case is going to transform into something else entirely. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth. I want your final opinion on the disposition of this crystal sphere.
Aber wieso denn jetzt before? Es ist doch Blut da drauf. Ich dachte, es geht darum, dass es danach.
If it is not related to the case, then this witness you recall will have been nothing more than a monumental waste of time.
Ja, so Schnee war auch drauf, ja. Prepare yourself for some very appropriate punishment, Miles Edgeworth.
Can I prove it?
Can I prove that the crystal sphere was dropped before the murder took place? Wieso denn jetzt before? Aber naja, half covered in snow. Ne? Ich würde sagen, das heißt ja.
Can I prove it? That isn't the issue. To simply prove it, that's the only option. That's what he'd do. That's what he'd do. That's the way Phoenix Wright would do this. Your Honor, allow me to prove something to you. I will prove that this crystal sphere is a vital link to solving this case. You would do what?
That look in your eyes. You remind me of Phoenix Wright when he is cornered.
That should come as no surprise, because right now I am Phoenix Wright, and I am indeed cornered. I order you to present your evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Evidence that proves that the crystal sphere was indeed dropped before the murder.
Ich hätte jetzt gesagt, die Crystal Sphere selber, weil found half covered in snow.
This crystal sphere, it was half buried in the snow, correct? That's right. If it hadn't stopped snowing, then it would have been game over. The snow would have totally covered it. That's all I needed to hear from you, Larry. Your testimony makes one thing quite clear. What? When the crystal sphere was dropped, it was snowing, even if it was ever so slightly.
Snowing?
On the other hand, let us look at the scene of the murder. As proven earlier today, there's no snow on the victim's body. Oh. Therefore, the crystal sphere must have been dropped before the murder.
What?
Order. On the night of the murder, the victim did indeed go to Dusky Bridge.
Achso, wahrscheinlich, weil wir jetzt argumentieren wollen, dass sie da hingegangen ist und die Kugel da vielleicht irgendwie hat fallen lassen, als sie noch am Leben war.
And there, something occurred that caused the star's crystal sphere to come loose. What could that have been? This sphere, there's some blood on it, isn't there? Allow me to raise a certain possibility at this juncture. The real crime scene was near the foot of Dusky Bridge.
Ja, das könnte man jetzt eigentlich auch in Frage stellen. The murder didn't take place in the Hazakura Temple courtyard? Only a fool would suggest such a foolish piece of absolute foolishness.
Just who's the fool, and which part is so foolish, Miss von Cardinal?
Have you been paying any attention this whole time, Miles Edgeworth? The sister saw everything. She saw the victim being killed by the defendant in the Hazakura Temple courtyard.
That's not exactly true, now is it? To put it more precisely, what she saw was the murder weapon being removed from the victim's body.
That's the same thing.
No, it isn't. You said it yourself.
Very little blood is actually lost at the moment of a blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed. If that statement is the truth, then Dusky Bridge could very easily be the scene of the murder. The murder weapon was not removed, thus there was no bleeding.
You are forgetting one vital thing, Miles Edgeworth. Elise Junim's body was found in Hazakura Temple. On foot, it takes 15 minutes to travel from Dusky Bridge to Hazakura Temple.
Snowmobile?
You mean to suggest someone carried the body all that way?
I've made it this far. The only place to take this is to the end. I just need to prove that my version of the events is also perfectly plausible.
No, the defense is ready. The court will like to have an explanation. Please show us the method by which the victim's body was carried to Hazakura Temple.
Oh shit. On that snowy night, there's one way that a body could have been moved. The snowmobile. As we know, the snowmobile was used that night. It was explained as having been used to dispose of the murder weapon, but it could also have been used to carry a body.
Order, order, order! This is completely unacceptable, Miles Edgeworth. You've dug yourself into your own grave.
What do you mean?
The only one who could have used the snowmobile was the defendant. She's the one who moved the body. Doesn't that put the final nail in your coffin?
You're too late, Franziska von Karma. And in fact, the defense has proven something else entirely. We have shown that this case requires further investigation.
What?
Where was the victim Elise Junium really killed? If her body was moved, whatever for? And finally, just what does this image mean?
Do you even need to think about that? Such a creature could never see the truth, let alone describe it.
This witness certainly sits on one of the lowest possible branches of humanity. Nett gesagt. However, he would never utter a lie that could hurt the girl with whom he is enamored. He drew this, so it is something that actually happened. The defense stands firm on this point.
Edgy, thank you.
That settles it then. I cannot give a verdict under these circumstances.
Right. I seem to have fulfilled my part in this. It is just as I thought. Franziska von Karma, you make a wonderful partner.
Excuse me?
There was one reason and one alone for me being here. To expose the darkness lurking in this case, and then pass it on to Wright.
Really? That's what this was all about? You could have just told me that from the very beginning.
You could have just told me that from the very beginning, sollte eher unsererseits ein Satz an dich gerichtet sein.
Miles Edgeworth, I don't care about what you were here to do. This was my chance to finally grind you under my heel.
A shame that your chance seems to have slipped you by.
What a shame, oh, Frenzy! This is all your fault. Such a terrible witness. You are an affront to all the legal system stands for. I demand satisfaction.
Müsstet ihr nicht auch langsam mal festgenommen werden?
I cannot believe that the witness's testimony relates to an actual event. However, there has to be some sort of answer for the questions it raises. Have his words here today been the truth or lies? Next time we gather in this courtroom, those are the matters that shall be addressed. I am counting on thorough investigations by both the defense and the prosecution.
And with this, the rest is up to you. Right.
Court is now adjourned.
To be continued. Okay. Sind wir jetzt wieder Phoenix? Der hat sich im Krankenhaus dann also währenddessen den Fall mit Dahlia und so nochmal durchs Gesicht, durch den Kopf gehen lassen. Oh ja, scheinbar. Das ist jetzt wahrscheinlich sogar genau die Szene, 3:43 Uhr nachts, und man hatte ihn ja bei dem Rückblick, also als der Rückblick zu Ende war, hat man ihn noch in dem Krankenzimmer gesehen, wo es auch recht dunkel war. Oh nein, schon wieder die Hottie-Klinik. I'm still up at this hour, reading through the trial record of a certain case. It's the first case my mentor, Mia Fey, had ever handled in a court of law. The horrifying truth that I refuse to accept is holding me hostage here within its pages. Dahlia Hawthorne. What I have read, I don't want to believe. What is written here? This isn't the Dahlia I knew. After falling into Eagle River, I was somehow miraculously saved. But I ended up catching a cold that seemed to knock me around the world and back. I feel dizzy, my ears are ringing, my throat burns, and my head is on fire. But I will recover. I have to recover by this afternoon. I have to meet with the most ill-tempered witness imaginable. But I know that he will be able to help me with him, somehow.